Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this postmortem of my Blitz game number 666. My opponent played d4 and I went with, not d3, he played d4. And I went with knight f6, hoping to get a Nimzo-Indian defense, and for once I got it. So many players these days play knight f3 on either this move or a previous move, and it just eliminates the Nimzo as a possibility. But I always liked the Nimzo. It's one of my top defenses. And when I have white against the Nimzo, I play the Rubinstein variation, which is e3 on move 4 here. Queen c2 is more popular these days, even though it's second choice in the database. It's pretty much all you see at the top levels. But e3 is quite respectable. And if you want to learn more about this variation, you can take a look at the series I did on the Zurich Candidates Tournament, because they were playing this kind of opening all the time. Anyway, this is fine for both sides. I go with c5. I could castle here, a quick castling. Other ideas are b6, set up a fianchetto with this bishop, or d5, go into a queen's gambit type of position. But c5 is a reasonable way to play, just putting some pressure on the center. That's what kind of what white is doing with this, what black is doing with these moves. He's pinning the knight, and that's taking away a little bit of the control of the e4 square, and then this pawn comes up here and puts a little pressure on the d pawn. Nothing too serious, and in fact, because white has played e3, the center is very solid, and white can just develop quickly, and that's, I think, the main idea, the Rubinstein variation. So, I'd play bishop d3 here, knight f3 or knight ge2 are also good moves at this point. a3, I think, is a mistake, and basically black is pretty okay after this. So an even position, I would say, at this point. It's just, white is giving up his only developed piece, so he's foregoing that advantage in development that he could get. And he does have the bishop pair, but he's also taken on some pawn damage, so and given up a bit of the development edge. So all in all, it's an even position. Let's see, I went knight c6 here, the normal move. I could also castle once again or play d5, but I'm playing with this kind of setup with the pawn on c5, the knight on c6. And now he went knight f3, not the most common move. Usually I come out with bishop d3 first, but we'll transpose back into a known position after I castle. Now he plays bishop d3. So those moves probably can be played in any order. At least the chess engine did not find a big problem with that. And now black can continue with d5 and expand that way. But my idea here is to go with d6 and e5 and bring the bishop out. And as I mentioned, Chess Explained refers to this as the Hübner variation, although I never knew that until I watched his channel. Let's see. So white goes e4. That's the main idea. Now white can grab a little more space in the center, and I go e5. And this just blocks up the center and gives black freedom to maneuver his pieces. And in the long run, these pawns over here can become weak, especially after d5, which is the main move here. There's nothing supporting these pawns, and they can come under fire at some point. But my main idea is not to immediately go after those pawns. I did mention in the video, there are ideas like putting the knight over here on a5 and putting the bishop over here on a6 and just ganging up on that pawn. And you see that in a lot of games. But it's not the way I like to play this position. I think you can get into trouble pretty quickly with two pieces on the side of the board if white can get some sort of kingside attack going. So we're getting into a position which is, we're just about out of the opening book. He castled, and I played knight g6. Not in the book. So at this point, we're out of the opening book. But knight g6 is not a bad move. It's immediately looking at this f5 square. And black is doing okay here. So his next move, knight g5, is a blunder. It's not a huge blunder. It's just giving up two tempos. And because the center is closed, it's not going to be an immediate problem. White could still be okay if white played carefully enough. But if you give up enough tempos, eventually you get into trouble. So the chess engine is suggesting a line here with knight to e1. And say I continue with b6. Bishop to c2. So it goes into some sort of long-winded rearrangement of the pieces here. I think one idea, though, is to try and get in this f4 move and if you can bust up the center, maybe you can get something going on this diagonal as white. But so that's one way to play. Knight g5 is a mistake, and I just kick it, and it has nowhere to go but back. So I've gained one tempo. I can't say I gained two tempos because this h6 move is questionable as to whether that helps or hurts. So now I play bishop g4, pinning the knight. He kicks it, and I don't want to trade that bishop. This is a pretty good piece here in this structure with all my pawns on dark squares. It's got a view out to both sides of the board, so I just retreated here. And I've sort of provoked this weakness of h3. And then now my opponent plays g3, which is another blunder. And, well, before I mention it, you want to just pause and see why that's a blunder. He could just play something like knight h2, and white would be okay. Black is probably a little better because white has wasted some time, but nothing horrible has happened. And he still has the idea of pushing f5 maybe at some point. f4. Anyway, yeah, g3 is a horrible blunder because it just hangs the h-pawn. And, well, I commit a blunder in return. I don't take it. So that's my big mistake of the game. Actually, it's a pretty well played game by me. Just that one. I just was continuing with my plans on the king side, not grabbing that pawn, which I really should just take it. Okay, so he played king g2 now, defending his pawn, and I get an f5. So he has, wasted some more time with that knight move, and now the king coming up. And but still, it's a playable position until this move here. So knight h4 is just losing, and in a pretty straightforward way. So it's kind of amazing that he fell for this. So the chess engine evaluation swings from being slightly better for black to black is winning. It's like -3 or -4. So it's not just that he's losing the h-pawn, but his entire king side falls apart. This bishop, is not in a position to contribute. This bishop is not yet developed, and it's not looking at any great targets. I mean, it could sack on h6 maybe in an optimistic, on a good day, but everything is too slow. So I just take it off. And the point is, it's not that I'm picking up a pawn, it's more that I'm getting my queen over here. And the queen, the bishop, and the knight, and the rook are all in play here. And what has he got around the king? He's just got this lone rook. He's got a messed up pawn structure. And so there's an example of incautious play, I guess is a kind way to put it. So he played f4. And then this next move, f takes e4. This is a very nice tactic because it's a double attack. I'm attacking his bishop, and I'm attacking the pawn over here. And so this is why that position was -3. It's because I win at least a piece. I think it was -4 or 5 actually. I win a piece and some pawns. So and there was no way to avoid it after that. Anyway, he took the pawn, and that allows me to come in with the winning attack. The king dropped back to h1. I think going to f3 there doesn't help either. And then I went in with queen g3 check, which is pretty natural. But the chess engine finds a really, really clever tactic here, so I thought I would show it to you. It's knight to g5, just ignoring the fact that the knight can be taken. Because what happens here is after you take the knight, then queen g3 check. The king only has one move. And then you could take the rook with check and pick up the queen. So that's a pretty quick finish right there. Anyway, I went with queen g3 check first. He played king h1. And I grabbed the rook here. I didn't see anything better, and actually that was the top choice of the chess engine. Kind of funny giving up your attacking piece like that, but I'm going to get my other pieces in. I play e takes f4. Once again, knight to g5 immediately was playable, this time because of the pin. But anyway, I take this way. Let's see, he starts the slow process of trying to get another piece into the defense, but I can get in with knight g5. Let's see, he played his bishop down to g6. I'm not sure what his idea was there. I just come in with knight f3, threatening mate on h2. Queen h2 is mate. So he played queen g2. And then after playing this, he resigned because there's actually a winning combination right here. So if you want to pause the video, see if you can find the quickest way to finish the game. Okay, there's all kinds of cute tactics. I'll show you one that I thought of later, which is not the best one. So this is like a second choice. But you could just take the queen here and give this check. And let's see, I don't know where he goes. And then pick up the bishop. So you're a rook up. But anyway, there's a much faster finish here, which is queen here check. And the king has nowhere to run. The knight is guarding the square. And when the queen blocks, whether it blocks on h2 or h3, then it's just queen takes queen is mate. So that's just a mate in 2 right there. So in this position, after playing queen g2, he resigned. So fun game. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.